Hello folks. Today we got another free project here. So this is a Stihl FS86. Stihl FS86 and it's in pretty dang rough condition. The guy I got it from said it ran good before it parked it, but I'm guessing it was left outside because there's rust in this. I really hate the fact that this has fiberglass everywhere, because guess what happens when fiberglass sits out in the sun? It gets all like splintery, and when you touch it you get fiberglass all stuck in you. So it's horrible. Like, I got a rash on my arm. But anyways, we're gonna tear into this thing, and I wasn't gonna film this, but I took out the spark plug and pulled over, and there was rust coming out of the cylinder. So I was like, this is gonna be an interesting one. And also it sounds really chunky, and I think I might hear rod knock. Listen to this when I pull it over. Does not sound super healthy, and also very low compression. Oh, well, that's just because the spark plug is not tight. Wait, let me see here. So here's the spark plug. Hang on. And that's not ideal. It looks like it was probably burning pretty good, but there's some like corrosion on it.
Okay, so easy.
So let's see what comes out of the cylinder when I pull this thing over. Oh. There was a little bit before, but no, I don't see much of anything. So I think we're just going to tear this thing completely down and see what's going on in there, because there's some weird noises. Might as well see what kind of compression we're getting, because it feels terrible. Oh, I don't want to touch that. Okay, that's good enough. Oh, it's not so bad. It feels wrong to... Oh. Okay. We're just over 100. I don't know if that... Okay. We're just over 100. It bled off a tiny bit, but... So that's not as bad as I was thinking, so that's a little bit encouraging. But still, that's pretty bad. Like 100, that's a lot of wear, or the piston rings are stuck or something, because you should get higher than 100 unless your engine's like super worn out. But it's good enough to run. It'll run like that. That should be enough compression to probably run.
Come out.
Dude, why is there absolutely no holes in for the exhaust to come out anywhere?
Hole. Just take off that whole cover.
Like, literally, where does the exhaust go? There's nothing. There's nowhere for the exhaust to come out. What? I've never seen that. There's no outlet on the muffler that I can find. It's supposed to be right there. It's the throttle cable.
See, let's go to door number 1.
No, look at that. Whoa, that's some scale. Oh, it's back here. See this little pipe? It comes out right back there, right next to the engine, which seems like
blowing hot air on the engine, more hot air.
Seems like a pretty horrible place to come out, but I don't know. I've never worked on one of these, so we're learning. Pretty gross, but it's definitely still there, which is good. This part of the filter looks pretty good, actually. Now will this thing... Okay, finally. Look at how crazy that is in there. That is so much... That is... I mean... Wow. That's some serious carbon buildup. That's not what you want to hear. That is not what you want to hear, folks.
So bad.
I don't know. Oh, it's like binding up into some spot. Like right there. You have to like force it over.
Okay, I want to get this thing off as fast as possible.
Is there like the connecting rod snapped? Uh-oh, my gloves. Okay. Yeah, we need to take this jug off of here, guy. I have to find out. Surprised those weren't completely welded in there. It's kind of looking like this was just left outside and just got a lot of rust and who knows what. Ooh. Oh, man. Every one of these bolts, dude. Oh, all over the carpet. Hang on. Take that one outside and dump it out. Look at this grossness in here. Oh, what have we got ourselves into?
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, it's not gonna fit in there. I need a.
So with this one, I'm just.
No, it has to get past. Oh come on, why'd they make these holes so tiny? I'm gonna need like a screwdriver that's this shape with just a straight shaft. No, none of this. Because how else am I gonna get those off?
Bit, don't you? I only have a Phillips and a flathead.
Yeah, you have to have a specialized tool to take this apart. All the exhaust carbon from it blowing directly onto the cylinder head is all over the fins. I'm gonna pull a carburetor right now. It's only got one fuel line, no return, no nothing. How's that even work? So it must not have a primer bulb then. Or something. I have no idea how this works or any of it. Okay. Ultra filthy carb is off. Is the throttle valve free? Yeah, throttle valve's free. Wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't at this point, but. Okay, we got this intake manifold off. I'll get back with you when I can figure out a way to get this cylinder off. Alright, so I had the brilliant idea of using an Allen key, and you can actually use these hex style things with the star shaped bolts, and if you get the right size, and it works just fine. But this is just long enough to where it's like barely engaging with it. But they were all so loose, it didn't even like take much at all. I'm surprised. They're all like way too loose. But they weren't loose like coming off, but they didn't take barely any torque to break free. So now it's just a laborious process to get all these out. So yeah, this will be a real fast time lapse. What we find under this cylinder can make or break this project. If I find complete carnage and basically like it would need to be completely rebuilt, I'm probably gonna have to unfortunately scrap the engine. So let's hope that's not the case.
Big one's still on, maybe. Oh no.
Okay. Uh-oh. Okay, so there is definitely some scuffing in here. Doesn't look completely unusable though, but there's definitely some scuffing in there. And a lot of carbon buildup. What I'm worried about is the bottom end.
So first off, there's a bunch of.
Okay, well that's not that much of a problem.
Yeah.
Here, hold the piston upright so it doesn't hit, and I'll see what is that?
I don't know exactly, but think it's the...
Something in the flywheel. It's got to be something in the flywheel. All right, let's keep turning. Let's rip this engine off of this thing completely. I mean, we've already got this far, so might as well just take it completely off so we can examine everything. Because there's still, I still don't know exactly what's causing that binding and that noise. Well, that's a problem. Our clutch is busted in half. That's probably what the noise was. One of the shoes on our clutch is busted in half.
Need a new clutch.
Need one of these clutch shoes. Here's the other piece of it. Broke off just like that. Kunk. No idea how that happens. Also, this clutch here is locked up. The outer part of it.
That guy won't spin probably.
Yeah. So there's all sort of stuff going on here.
That's tight.
I think that's probably what a lot of our noise was that broken thing. Oh, I just realized our other one's broken too. Our other one's broken. It snapped right here and completely came off the bolt that was holding it on. So so our clutch is completely destroyed. So I think the bottom of the engine might be fine. Yeah, you can feel where it grabs the magnet. I don't hear any more noises, so that's good. It's possible this engine, it does have a really tiny piston, so I'm thinking this is definitely a 20cc engine or something like that. Try not to bend this gasket. So, I don't know. I'd like to still try to get this thing running. But it's just, it's going to be... This, I don't know if I can find replacements for these. I mean, probably. I'll have to check. But yeah, not super ideal, to say the least. Okay. So, I've been doing some work off camera because it actually is way easier to work off camera, believe it or not. But anyways, I got the piston off of it and the rings off because the top ring was really stuck and there was tons of carbon. It was actually worse than the Echo PV200 in terms of carbon buildup. But we got it way cleaner now. It's not perfect, but it's way better than it was. Definitely a lot better. And so now I'm going to clean in the crankcase because you can see it is dirty in there. So I'll just brake clean everything down. Although I need to not do this on the carpet, obviously. There's a literal pool in there of brake cleaner. Now I have to fire up the diesel air compressor because I have to have compressed air. now that we've thoroughly brake cleaned all this stuff, we want to dump out all that blackness, all that gross. Ugh. And now we'll use compressed air to blast out all that residue. It's interesting, now the bearings have become way more chunky feeling. It's probably because they have no lubricant right now. So I'm just going to drip some oil. I'm just going to drip some oil into these main bearings here. You could use 2-stroke oil, but I'm just going to use 10W40 because that's what I have in this little dropper here. Same thing to the other side. Alright, it's getting better. Alright, now we'll do our crank bearing just a wee bit. Obviously, it gets lubricated when the engine runs, but I'm just adding a little bit more. Oh yeah, now it's getting way smoother now that oil is being worked into these main bearings and everything. If you do this right, there we go. So yeah, that feels great. Got it cleaned out and re-lubed, and now we're going to work on getting our piston rings back on, and then putting the piston back on, and then putting the jug back on. So I did keep the rings organized. So to make sure that these rings go on nice and easy, I'm going to put some oil around in here. And then we want to get our ring started. And as I've said before, feeler gauge is a great way to get rings on without damaging them. You can just slide them down. So it's in that first groove. Now I need to get over into the second groove. Okay, there we go. Got the bottom ring on, and I'm all nice and greasy. I'm ready for the top ring. Which I actually didn't need that. Okay, there we go. So we have our a wrist pin bearing here, and so I'm going to hit this with a little brake clean to break down all the other old gunk that was on it. Hit it with a little compressed air, and now I'll come back over here and we'll put some oil on it. Whoa, that was too much. It's okay. But a lot of oil on it apparently. And then stick it back in the crankshaft, or the connecting rod I mean. So I'm quite certain that the dot on the piston is supposed to be facing the exhaust side, because I checked and the pins line up so they don't hit any ports where the ring gaps are. Okay, so actually I'm going to do this a little easier. No. Okay, don't drop your wrist pin down in the down in the crankcase. That's not an ideal situation. So I'm also going to put some oil on the wrist pin here, just a wee bit. It's raining outside, and it's like getting closer to the end of June, and it's raining, and it's like 50 degrees. So I actually have this like center punch that's the perfect size for that wrist pin. So now we have our little clips, or I actually only took off one of them and was able to get the wrist pin out, but we have this tiny little clip, which I'm guessing isn't going to be super fun to get back in there. Oh, pretty good though. Okay. That is seated, I think. Make sure. Yep, that is seated. Okay. Piston is fully back on. Now it's time to put the jug back on this. It's crazy how much slop this has. Like, look at that. I think it's supposed to be like that too. Clean off this gasket surface here. We don't want anything on that. Oh yeah, off camera I also cleaned up the cylinder head, or not the cylinder head, the cylinder here a little bit, so it's a little cleaner. At least I got some of the major junk out of the fins. So I think I found a way to do this. So if you use a flathead, I wouldn't recommend this, but you can get it to fit with a star bit actually pretty well. And so I think this is going to work. Because these don't need to be cranked down super tight. They should be way tighter than they were when I took them off though. But I'm also going to use some Loctite on them to make sure they don't come off. Okay, so we'll put some oil on the inside of this thing. Oh yeah, right in there. And we'll get that all around the piston rings. And now, see if we can't put it on. Make sure we're filming here. Okay. Now we need to make sure our gasket gets lined up. I was going to put thread locker, wasn't I? Yes, I was. Okay, so you can see there's the intake. I did put quite a bit of oil in there, but that's okay. And there's the exhaust. I bet you, well, since I put a lot of oil in there, it'll artificially raise the compression, but I'll still be interested to do a compression test. Okay, so it's time to put this somewhat back together. We're going to start off with the coil here. There, I put the coil on backwards. Yeah, of course, I put the coil on backwards. It's weird, you would assume the lettering should be facing out. Yeah, apparently not. Okay, so we'll make sure we put this on the right way. Okay, so I set the coil gap to about a little under 15 thousandths because I used 3 papers, printer paper that is about 5 thousandths, a little bit under 5 thousandths of an inch, and so 3 of them is a little under 15 thousandths. So it's maybe like 14 or 13, which I think is pretty good for this application. Put our grounding wire on. Oh yeah, I also lubed up. It's kind of looks gross in there, but it's just rust from this bolt here. I think that rusted, but I lubed it up with some WD-40. Works nice and smoothly. I think we're ready to give it a compression test here. Now, of course, it's going to read higher than it actually is because of the oil that I put in the cylinder, but we should be able to tell if there's an improvement. Alright. Looks like we're at about 140. Yeah, 140. Originally it only got 100 psi, so 140 is quite an improvement. I did another compression test after it had ran a little bit, and the compression was down to 130 psi. So I think that's what the true reading is, which is still quite an improvement. Make sure we got spark here. Oh yeah. Got spark and we got good spark. Alright, now we'll put the muffler on. It's been a couple more days and we now have the carb rebuild kit that I got for this because the old diaphragms were pretty hard, but this one should be better. These new ones. The gasket got stuck on here, the old one, so I had to scrape it off, and it was in really rough shape anyways. But now we can put a new one on. And look at all this. Just look at all this to pick from here. Hopefully I can find the stuff that does fit. There's so many pumping diaphragms. There's 4 pumping diaphragms. That's crazy. I guess I'm sure there will be the right one in there somewhere. I'll have plenty of spares too. So first we have here our metering diaphragm, which there's supposed to go a gasket underneath it, and there's only one that fits that. Okay, and then there's this little breathing hole. Ah, everything's blown away. Everything. I should probably test if that needle is sealing before I put anything on here. Alright, so how we'll test this is we'll put a little carb cleaner in the screen right here. And it shouldn't flow through. Doesn't look like it is. Nope. And then if we hit the button, it should all drain out. Well, that ain't good. It's not draining out when I hit the needle. So that's plugged. Okay, well that's good on check that because I need to clear that out then. So I'll take our needle valve out of it. All the pieces of that, which is a lot of. Let's bring all that. Oh, it's clear. It's going right through. Our needle valve had some weird buildup on it. Clean that off. Let's see if it flows now. Yeah, I think it did. Yeah, I think fuel is able to go through there. If there's problems with it, then I always have this other needle valve I can put in there. Alright, I think our carburetor is rebuilt. It's possible I put the wrong stuff in it. We won't know until we try to start it. So got a bit more stuff bolted on the engine since you saw it last. Just the gas tank and intake manifold. Now I don't know if this fuel line's any good or not. Well, I'm just gonna try it, and if this fuel lines don't work, then I'll replace them at that point. Alright, well, I guess now all that's left to do is to test it. Now, this thing's gonna be not fun to start because it has no primer. I don't know why, but this engine just doesn't come with a primer. So, we'll turn the choke on. Alright, yeah, it's going to be a pain to hold down, but we'll see what we can do.
Exhaust in the face. Hang on, I gotta get a better grip. Okay.
Alright. I think it's getting fuel prime, but it's just taking a while. So we'll just accelerate that process a little with some starting fluid.
Maybe it needs some throttle.
Alright. Hold her good on the gas tank. It needs throttle. But there's there's so much to do. Oh yeah, that's.
It's so quiet.
It's just not quite getting fuel up to it. It's close though, I know it is. Alright, let's pull it a little more, and then if it just refuses to start, then we'll just have to take the tank off and replace the lines and filter. Fill her up.
Wants to go.
Alright, well, we're gonna have to tear it down now. finally got that fuel line out. My replacement line is, I think, a little bit bigger. Yeah, it's a little bit thicker diameter, unfortunately, so it'll make it harder. But so you can see this thing's pretty gross. Oh, didn't breathe very well. For now, I'm just going to use a brand new one that I happen to have, and that should be a lot easier. Alright, we'll cut ourselves a length off this new fuel line. Okay, cut at an angle so hopefully I can get it through this grommet here. Also, if I put some WD-40 on it, that'll maybe help it slide in a little easier. Got the wrong piece on there, but that's okay. They're both basically the same length anyways. Alright, finally got that thing back in. That was a struggle and a half. Alright, so we got new fuel line and new fuel filter. I think it breathes better. I don't know. This line is very small diameter anyways, so it's not meant to be able to flow a ton. Alright, so we're ready for round 2 with starting. So it's still going to take a lot of pulling because, once again, no primer.
It might blow.
A little starting fluid. Kickstart this.
Not very much.
Ah.
Take off the choke.
But now we'll start without the choke. It doesn't have very much lubricant in it, that starting fluid, so I prefer that it runs on the gas, but it's not getting gas. Needs like partial choke or something, which I can do. I'm going to put some gas directly, just put 2-stroke gas directly in here, because I don't know what else to do. Wants to so bad. Alright, so great news. So I took the carburetor apart and it wasn't getting any fuel up to the metering diaphragm because the needle was completely swelled up and it was shutting off the passage. It might have been like that already, or it's possible that that was largely from me putting brake cleaner on it and it just reacted poorly with the rubber and made it swell up. That's quite possible. But anyways, I put in the new needle valve and now it ran. It just ran. So I'm going to run it again here. You have to hold it with your feet in order to get it to a good, because it wants to fly around. it's running too rich. I adjusted the low screw to run richer than it was normally, because so it would help get more fuel in there for starting, but so runs pretty dang good. I was just tuning it up a little bit there. The low screw is way too rich, but now it's good to go. And yeah, obviously it has no load on it, so it revs pretty dang high. But yeah, so I think we got ourselves a runner here. Actually, we definitely do. Now, to talk about the actual weed eater part. So I have made a decision. Alright. So as you know, the clutch that was bolted onto the flywheel, the clutch shoes were completely destroyed, so I'd have to get new ones of those. And then also I took this off, and you can see the bearing that the shaft goes with this rod here. That bearing is actually toast. It's completely frozen up, so this thing won't turn in here at all. And so that's 2 strikes against this as a weed eater. So this may sadden some of you, but I think I'm going to scrap the weed eater part and just keep the engine. And yes, I know. And also, I already have 2 weed eaters, so I'm not in a rush to get another one for myself. And of course, I could sell it, but I have an idea for this. I have an idea for this engine. This may sound stupid, and maybe it is stupid, but I really thought it'd be cool if I could make a propeller-powered RC car. So, like, basically a really simple, like, frame with this engine on the back of it and a propeller and some steering and brakes and stuff, and then you'd have, like, because no one's ever built a prop RC car that I'm aware of. I mean, I'm sure it has been done, but it's just it's not very common at all. And it'd be very easy to do because, you don't have to worry about transmissions or clutches or chains or gearing. All you have is just a propeller and an engine, and that's your powertrain. And you can get the propeller the right size for this, so that way it runs at the optimal power making RPM, probably around 8,000 RPM. And I could also do some performance mods to this engine, maybe some intake and exhaust stuff. I don't know much about performance mods for 2-stroke. I know a lot more about 4-stroke, but a lot of the same principles apply, I think. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing this engine run and watching this video, and I will see you next time.